Polygon Bikes is probably not what you think it is. Polygon's parent company, PT in Saracena, PT being the Indonesian version of an LLC company, and I'm sure I'm pronouncing that name wrong, started in 1989 as a general bicycle manufacturing company. They would grow to be the largest bicycle manufacturer in Indonesia, fulfilling contracts for brands such as Marin, Kona, GT, Scott, and more. However, it's clear that they had grander ambitions about starting their own brand name to sell bikes through. That said, it's hard to find solid info on this change. They're said to have opened their first physical storefront in 1997, potentially selling their own bikes in Indonesia, but it's not clear if this is actually the start to Polygon or if they're just selling the bikes that they were producing for global brands. That said, Polygon was probably at least a thing in 2007 when they expanded their operations to ship to Australia. They would continue this global expansion with the Polygon brand name, shipping to Europe in 2011 and into America in 2014. That said, the mountain bikes that we're familiar with only really popped up on the scene starting in 2010. And whether or not that was actually the start of Polygon producing mountain bikes, it didn't take them long to make waves in the mountain bike industry. One of Polygon's first international signings was UK freerider Sam Reynolds, who signed at the end of 2011 for the 2012 season. But Polygon would go even further, becoming the bike sponsor for the United Ride team, starting in 2013, which Sam would also be a part of until they finally ended the contract with Polygon in 2020. It's also worth noting that one of the brands that Polygon was working with, Marin, was bought out in 2012, and this may have been further motivation to expand more with their in-house brand. And it's also almost certainly the reason that Marin and Polygon both produced bikes using the nailed React suspension system that can be found on both the Marin Wolf Ridge and the Polygon X Square one. And Polygon would find success on the competitive stages, with riders like Sam Reynolds ending up on multiple Crankworx podiums, but notably winning Best Trick in 2015 Red Bull Rampage. Also, siblings Mick and Tracy Hanna would take Polygons to the World Cup downhill stage, with Mick getting 6 podiums, including second place at World Championships twice. And under Tracy, they would get 3 World Cup wins, including the overall title in 2019. Her lowest finish on a Polygon bike was 11th, having never missed a final, as well as gotten so many podiums that I'm not going to bother counting them all. Sadly, but also impressively, she got 3rd 4 times at World Championships, as well as 3 4th place and 1 5th place. Never below top 5 at a World Championship. Also, the overall title she won in 2019 was done so on the downhill version of the nailed React suspension system. Sadly, Polygon's ability to support riders and teams post-COVID has been up and down. There was an initial attempt to start a factory team, but that has already been shuttered. That said, their support for riders still goes on, including big-name free riders like Luke Whitlock, as well as many Southern California racers through the Bikes Online racing program, which could be their new way to shift their marketing through teams and riders, promoting their online shop service as opposed to their bike brand outright. And while they haven't had a production downhill bike in a while, it's exciting to see the new Colossus downhill prototype being ridden by so many team riders. And perhaps we'll see the newest release of the Colossus downhill bike soon. But feel free to check your current bike, particularly if it's a Marin, because if it says Made in Indonesia on it, it's highly likely that it's actually Polygon's bike factory that produced that bike.